East Pakistan shared the same religion. It was never about that. It was all about the language and the identity, and how the language and identity impacted the way in which Islam was practiced in Bangladesh.
Okay,
so
Ms.
if you're
Mukherjee,
looking at,
in the same breath, let me quickly then ask you, and I want you to briefly explain to us which one of these would then be good for Bangladesh to have a good relationship with India. Clearly, India-Bangladesh ties are strained at the moment. Awami League was friendly to India. With that party gone, which do you think is the best option then to maintain friendly, cordial relationship with India?
Let's look at it this way. Yesterday, there were strong public protests outside the High Commissioner's office in Delhi and in Kolkata and in Siliguri. And this was conducted by the Hindu Jagran Manch. Obviously, we are looking at a polarization from within the public space in India. The government of India has made it very clear that though they would like an inclusive election, meaning that Hasina should be a part of, or the Awami League should be a part of the election, they have also said that we will maintain our relationship and we will continue with our relationship with Bangladesh, regardless of whoever is coming into power. But what is of concern, and that is serious concern, is that India has always been a part of Bangladesh's domestic politics. Therefore, when you have slogans on the streets of slavery versus freedom, freedom versus democracy, freedom and democracy, you also have questions being asked about how will the government be run, from Delhi or in Dhaka. And that is exactly the space that India has to negotiate. How does it work with a country where if an elected government of that sort comes in, they will say that no, we will have to have a kind of relationship with India in the neighborhood where the evil or the demon is on the other side of the border, which is trying to interfere in things which are happening in Bangladesh. And this was the accusation against the Awami League. This is the reaction that was part of Jawat's politics. This is a reaction which is part of the
we have to wait and watch how this moves forward, and it's interesting because in the current regimes of Maldives and Sri Lanka also won their elections on an anti-India plank, but they turned around and came for financial aid, and there were deals that were made with India, and now it's all over. The difference, of course, being that Bangladesh is also seeing a very violent situation and an attack on minorities. But we'll leave it there. Ms. Shikha Mukherjee, thank you for your perspective on WION. We'll, of course, wait and watch how this crisis unfolds in Bangladesh. All right, moving on. 2025 was the year of rise for Britain's Reform UK party. But as we move closer to the end of the year, the race to the 10 Downing Street is getting closer. But the biggest question in Britain's politics is who will have the ultimate backing of Conservative voters. The decades-long duopoly of Conservatives and Labour Party is facing a challenge. Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, is making strides. The new party has gained momentum in recent times, but the rise of Nigel Farage is facing fluctuations now. According to the poll conducted by YouGov, Reform UK's support has shrunk by 4% in December in comparison to what it was in September. Voting intentions for Reform have come down from 29 to 25%. The biggest gainers are its Conservative rivals, led by Kemi Badenoch, who have gained 3% voter support during this time. Now, despite the decline, the overall picture is far from the flip. Reform UK remains the most preferred party to win polls. It is sitting at the top with 5% lead over Prime Minister Starmer's Labour Party. Conservatives, meanwhile, are still sitting on the third position. Nigel Farage is also topping the list of popular leaders. His popularity ratings stand at 38% at the moment, which is more than 10 points Behind him stands Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch remains third with 18% ratings. The next general elections in UK are far from the sight, but the tumultuous tenure of Keir Starmer has raised questions on stability of his government. His popularity ratings are down, and there is a chatter in Labour ranks that time is ticking for Starmer. Now, if he fails to turn around the situation, the party may look for a change in guard as well.
Then we're going to tell about the free school meals we're rolling about.
Updates from India now. In Maharashtra, the Thackeray brothers have stirred the political pot. After a gap of 20 long years, Uddhav and Raj Thackeray have decided to merge Shiv Sena UBT and Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, or the MNS. The cousins have reunited to fight the elections for Asia's richest municipal corporation, which is the BMC. Our report gets you all the details. Take a look.
The chiefs of the Shiv Sena UBT and Maharashtra Navnirman Sena knocked on history's door. The Thackeray cousins arrived at Shivaji Park and paid tribute to party founder Balasaheb Thackeray. Ushering a new era of identity politics, MNS chief Raj Thackeray spoke in Marathi amid cheers from the public.
Today I'll tell just one thing. I was waiting for the Shiv Sena and MNS alliance to happen. I declare this: Mumbai's mayor will be Marathi, and he will be one of ours.
Uddhav, seated next to him, sounded confident of Thackeray's legacy and the outcome of the BMC polls.
Today we are coming together for upcoming BMC elections 2026. We both will give a strong response to anybody who tries to break the spirit of Marathi Manus.
The BJP mocked the unison of the Thackeray brothers, calling it a politics of opportunism.
हाइप तो ऐसे क्रिएट की जा रही है मानो रशिया और यूक्रेन ही साथ में आ गया और ज़ेलेंस्की और पुतिन बात कर रहे हैं। इस प्रकार की हाइप दो पार्टियां जो अपना अस्तित्व खोज रही है, जिन्होंने अपना अस्तित्व गंवा दिया है, जिन्होंने बार बार भूमिकाएं बदलकर लोगों के बीच अपने बारे में अविश्वास पैदा किया है, जिन्होंने तुष्टीकरण की नीति को अपनाकर एक प्रकार से अपना वोट बैंक खो दिया है, ऐसी दो पार्टियां साथ में आई है तो उनके साथ में आने से कौन सा फर्क पड़ने वाला है?
The ruling Mahayuti alliance, led by the BJP and Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena faction, has publicly set its aim of winning more than 150 seats out of 227. At the same time, another surprise alliance is taking shape in Pune. Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar are likely to join hands, despite their ongoing political rivalry. The Pawars seek to continue their fight against the Thackeray's. The fight for the Mumbai civic polls is heating up. After over 8 years, the elections will finally take place in January. The candidates are competing for every one of the 227 seats in the municipal corporation, a critical battleground for local governance and political influence in Mumbai.
This is quite significant. Why? Because this is ending a long-term political rift between the two regional leaders here, that's Uddhav as well as Raj Thackeray. Both of these parties do enjoy a strong hold of Marathi-centric voters in areas like South Mumbai as well as central suburbs of Mumbai. Thirdly, it will also have a competition for the BJP, who are yet to announce their seat-sharing formula.
With new equations, unlikely alliances and experimental tie-ups, the BMC elections are leading up to be one of the most politically dynamic contests in recent times.
Politicians are largely considered public servants, but is that the case in the eyes of law? Well, the suspension of sentence of convicted rapist, who also happens to be a former MLA, has now sparked debate. The case dates back to 2017, when a minor girl was allegedly kidnapped and raped by the then BJP MLA Kuldeep Sengar. She was then sold for 60,000 rupees and also threatened and warned that if she speaks out against the rapist, things will not go down well for her. Earlier, the trial court sentenced Kuldeep Sengar for life imprisonment, but the High Court's division bench has now suspended the earlier sentence. It has reduced it to 7 years, which Kuldeep has already served, meaning the punishment for raping a minor is over. The victim and her family took to the streets as soon as the verdict was delivered. She sat outside the India Gate with her mother and a woman activist holding a placard that asked one question: what type of justice is this? The police later was seen forcefully removing the trio from the site. The victim has now vowed to move the Supreme Court against the suspension of Sengar.
I heard the judgment. I felt very bad. I wanted to kill myself then and there, but I stopped after thinking about my family. Injustice has been done to us. Elections are coming, and he has been released on bail so that his wife can contest the polls.
So on what basis has the High Court suspended this verdict of the trial court? The answer lies in the POCSO Act, the law which aims to protect children from sexual offences, and it lays out the punishment for the same. There are two classifications of rape under this law: penetrative sexual assault and aggravated penetrative sexual assault. One invites jail term of 10 to 20 years, while the other takes it up to 20 years minimum, which can be extended up to life imprisonment. What are the circumstances under which the rape can be called aggravated penetrative sexual assault? Under Section 5 of the POCSO Act, the rape is considered aggravated penetrative sexual assault when it is committed by a public servant or whoever being in a position of trust and authority over a child. Kuldeep Sengar was a sitting MLA at the time of the rape. Not just that, the four-time MLA has been a political heavyweight as well. All major political parties in UP have been fielding him as their candidate. Starting from the Congress in 1990s, he contested elections from there till BSP in 2002. Then he went on to the Samajwadi Party in 2007, where he also contested elections in 2012. He was a sitting BJP MLA when the rape case took place in 2017. The BJP suspended him from the party after his involvement in the case. But this latest judgment by the High Court raises an important question. Are elected representatives public servants? If not, why aren't they? All right, moving on to France now, where the country has moved at the 11th hour to avoid a government shutdown. French lawmakers have passed an emergency law to keep the government running. Lawmakers in Paris passed last-minute emergency legislation to keep the state functioning into the new year, after the parliament failed to agree on a full national budget. The stopgap measure has also been cleared by the Senate, but it is only a temporary fix, and it underscores deepening political divisions in Europe's second-largest economy. France's deeply split parliament, remember, has been locked in bitter negotiations for more than 2 months now. Lawmakers were caught in a race to pass a two-part budget before the end of the year. And in the end, they only managed to agree on half of it. The deadlock comes as France faces growing pressure to rein in a swelling deficit and soaring public debt. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu submitted what is being called a special law. The measure allows the state to keep collecting taxes and pay civil servants from January 1st, based on the 2025 budget framework. President Emmanuel Macron has set a clear target. He wants the deficit brought below 5% of the GDP, while still funding the government's priorities. This sets the stage for another political showdown. Lawmakers will return to the parliament at the start of the new year, with fresh battles expected over taxes, spending, and France's economic future. And with that, it's a wrap on Race to Power, but news and updates will continue. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS Centenary Year, Kesariya at 100.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Vielleicht nur als Imposant.
We're live on WION World is One. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for Fine Print. I'm Eric Njoka. The headlines. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calls for a meeting with Donald Trump to hammer out the most sensitive issues in a future peace deal with Russia, such as controlled territory, following the latest round of US-Ukrainian talks. The United States has reportedly cut its support to Ukraine by $45 billion in 2025, at a time when Kiev is pleading its allies for more aid. In India, the centre government has issued directions to the states for a complete ban on the grant of any new mining lease